Welcome back to Eclipse Influences. This is episode 8, the last episode. For this one, we're actually looking at the first track on the album, and that track is called Eclipse. So Eclipse was actually the last track written for the album, if you could call it written. The music itself doesn't really have any particular influences, but the idea came from a riff I really liked on the last track of the album, Following the Rain. So in the previous episode I said, when I finally got to that last riff in that song, I knew that that was the end, and I knew it had to be the ending of the album. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of start the album with that same kind of riff, so that when the album ends and you start the album over, it just feels continuous, and it would probably, I was thinking, probably feel pretty gratifying, pretty cool. I know that when I hear Devin Townsend repeating riffs from one song in a totally separate song on a different album, there's this cool feeling. And at Sanity, when they bring back a riff from, let's say, 2 minutes into a song like Crimson, and then they bring it back like 30 minutes in, and you're like, wait a minute, I've heard that before. It's a cool feeling. So I wanted to go with something like that. And so I took that riff and I kind of modified it a bit, put some changes underneath, added some slightly different harmonies and orchestration, and made that the intro. Similarly, Sunrise in the Rain was the first song written in the album. In terms of story, it should have been the first, but as I mentioned before in an earlier episode, it didn't feel like the start of the album. So I decided that since the album closing riff just felt so right, that I'd bring it back and make it the opening of the album as well. And it would kind of give the album a cyclical feel. So when they reach the end, when the listener reaches the end of the album and start it over, it just feels like a continuous journey. And it's interesting because sort of like an eclipse, which will come back and put us in the shadow, it eventually will cycle back to the light, which really is the whole point, the whole story, the whole theme of the album, that even amidst the darkness, there is light to be found, and it can come back. So that is the entire album. I hope you enjoyed this small series and my rambling on, and I hope you'll tune in to any future episodes of random things I decide to do, and I hope you take a listen to the album and that you enjoy it. Thank you very much. Tuning out from Whitehorse, Yukon.